The unexpected encounter. The vast emptiness of space stretched out before Maya Patel as she guided her repair shuttle towards the derelict satellite. Stars twinkled in the distance, cold and indifferent to the lone human venturing into their domain. Maya's breath fogged the inside of her helmet as she double-checked her tether, the carbon fiber cord her only lifeline in the unforgiving vacuum. "All right, old girl," Maya muttered to herself, patting the shuttle's worn control panel. "Let's make this a quick one." As a freelance mechanic operating in the fringes of human-controlled space, Maya had seen her fair share of unusual repair jobs. But this one felt different. The distress beacon that had led her here was unlike anything she'd encountered before. A strange, pulsating signal that seemed to defy conventional communication protocols. Maya maneuvered her shuttle closer to the satellite, its sleek alien design becoming clearer with each passing moment. This was no human construction. The smooth, almost organic curves and faintly glowing patterns etched into its surface spoke of a technology far beyond humanity's current capabilities. "Control, are you seeing this?" Maya asked, her voice tight with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. The radio crackled with static before a gruff voice responded. "Affirmative, Patel. Proceed with caution. Remember, observation only. Do not engage with any active systems." Maya rolled her eyes, as if she needed reminding of the protocols for first contact scenarios. But as she brought her shuttle alongside the alien satellite, all thoughts of protocol flew from her mind. There, nestled within a translucent pod on the satellite's surface, was a small, childlike figure. "Holy shit," Maya breathed, her heart pounding in her chest. "Control, are you seeing this? There's someone in there." The figure was clearly not human. Its skin was a pale lavender, with delicate feather-like appendages where hair might be on a human child. But what struck Maya most were its eyes. Large, iridescent orbs that seemed to shimmer even in the dim light of space. "Patel, disengage immediately." Control's voice crackled through the comm, urgency evident in every word. "This is beyond your purview. We're sending in a specialized team." But Maya wasn't listening. The alien child's eyes had locked onto hers, and in that moment, she felt a connection that transcended species. The child was afraid, alone, and, Maya realized with a start, dying. The pod's life support systems were failing. Lights flickered erratically across its surface, and Maya could see the child's chest rising and falling in short, labored breaths. "I can't leave it," Maya said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Control, ongoing EVA. This kid needs help now." Ignoring the protests blaring through her comm, Maya sealed her helmet and initiated the airlock sequence. As the outer doors of her shuttle slid open, she took a deep breath, steeling herself for what she was about to do. The space between her shuttle and the alien pod seemed to stretch on forever. Maya's magnetic boots clanked against the satellite's hull as she made her way towards the child, each step feeling like an eternity. Up close, the complexity of the alien technology was even more apparent. The pod was a marvel of engineering, its systems interconnected in ways Maya could barely comprehend. But she didn't need to understand it all. She just needed to keep the child alive. Maya's hands moved with practiced efficiency, connecting her suit's diagnostic tools to the pod's external ports. Streams of alien data flowed across her helmet's heads-up display, most of it incomprehensible. But some things were universal life signs: power levels, atmospheric composition. "Okay, kiddo," Maya muttered, her fingers flying across the holographic interface projected from her suit. "Let's see what we're dealing with here." The pod's power was failing, its life support systems struggling to maintain a stable environment. Maya's mind raced, calculating power requirements and atmospheric ratios. She had minutes, maybe less, before the system failed completely. With a deep breath, Maya made her decision. She began rerouting power from her own suit, channeling it into the pod's critical systems. It was a risky move. If she miscalculated, she could end up killing them both. But as she watched the alien child's vital signs stabilize, she knew it was worth it. "Hang in there, little one," Maya said softly, her gloved hand pressed against the pod's translucent surface. "I've got you." The child's large eyes blinked slowly, a flicker of hope visible in their depths. Maya felt a surge of determination. She wasn't leaving this satellite without saving this child. Protocols be damned. As Maya worked to stabilize the pod, her mind whirled with questions. Who had built this satellite? Why was this child left here alone? And most importantly, how was she going to explain this to Control? A sudden tremor shook the satellite, nearly throwing Maya off her feet. Warning lights flashed across her HUD. The satellite's orbit was decaying rapidly. They were running out of time. "Control," Maya called, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "I need emergency extraction. 2 passengers." There was a long pause before Control responded, their voice tight with barely contained fury. "Paddle, you are in direct violation of." "Save it," Maya cut them off. "This child will die if we don't act now. I'm bringing the pod into my shuttle. Have a med team ready on arrival." Without waiting for a response, Maya began the delicate process of detaching the pod from the satellite. Her muscles strained against the bulky spacesuit as she maneuvered the pod towards her shuttle, every second feeling like it might be their last. As they finally cleared the airlock, Maya allowed herself a moment of relief. But she knew this was just the beginning. She had no idea what she had just brought aboard, or what consequences her actions would have. All she knew was that she had done the right thing. As she looked down at the alien child, its large eyes now peaceful in unconsciousness, Maya felt a fierce protectiveness wash over her. Whatever came next, she would face it head-on. The shuttle's engines roared to life, carrying them away from the decaying satellite and towards an uncertain future. Maya Patel, freelance mechanic turned unlikely savior, had just changed the course of human history, and she didn't regret it for a second. Against all odds. The moment Maya's shuttle docked with the orbital station, chaos erupted. Medical teams swarmed the airlock, their faces a mix of curiosity and apprehension as they wheeled the alien pod away. Maya found herself swept along in their wake, her protests falling on deaf ears as she was ushered into decontamination. Hours later, scrubbed clean and clad in a standard-issue jumpsuit, Maya paced the length of the small conference room she'd been confined to. The adrenaline of her rescue had long since faded, replaced by a gnawing worry for the alien child's fate. The door hissed open, admitting a stern-faced woman in a crisp military uniform. "Mechanic Patel," she said, her voice clipped and professional. "I'm Admiral Zhao. Do you have any idea what you've done?" Maya straightened her spine, meeting the Admiral's gaze unflinchingly. "I saved a life, ma'am." Admiral Zhao's expression didn't waver. "You've potentially triggered an interstellar incident. That life you saved. It's the first concrete proof we have of intelligent alien life. And you brought it aboard a human station without any form of quarantine or safety protocols." "With all due respect, Admiral," Maya countered, "that it is a child. A child who would have died if I hadn't acted." The Admiral's eyes narrowed. "A child of unknown origin, with unknown biology, potentially carrying pathogens that could wipe out humanity. Your heroics may have doomed us all." Maya felt her temper flare. "So what should I have done? Left it to die?" "Yes," Admiral Zhao said bluntly. "That's exactly what our protocols dictate. Non-interference. Observation only. You're not qualified to make these kinds of decisions, Mechanic Patel." A tense silence fell over the room. Maya's mind raced, searching for the right words to make the Admiral understand. "Maybe I'm not qualified," she finally said, her voice low but firm. "But I am human, and humans don't leave children to die, no matter what species they are." Something flickered in Admiral Zhao's eyes. Respect, perhaps, or at least grudging acknowledgement. She sighed, her rigid posture softening slightly. "Be that as it may, We now have to deal with the consequences of your actions. The alien child is in critical condition. Our medical teams are struggling to understand its physiology, let alone treat it." Maya's heart sank. "Let me help," she pleaded. "I managed to stabilize its life support systems on the satellite. Maybe I can do something here." Admiral Zhao studied her for a long moment before nodding curtly. "Very well, but you'll be under constant supervision. One wrong move, and you're out." "Understood." Maya nodded eagerly, relief flooding through her. As they left the conference room and made their way to the medical bay, she couldn't help but feel a spark of hope. She'd come this far. She wasn't about to give up now. As if in response to her words, the alien child's eyes fluttered open. Those iridescent orbs fixed on Maya, filled with a depth of emotion that transcended species. A small three-fingered hand pressed against the inside of the pod, mirroring Maya's own. In that moment, something shifted. The monitors stabilized, vital signs strengthening. The alien technology hummed in harmony with the human equipment, as if the two were finally learning to work together. Maya felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. "That's it," she whispered, a tired smile spreading across her face. "You've got this. We've got this." She didn't notice Admiral Zhao standing in the doorway, watching the scene with a mixture of awe and trepidation. The Admiral's hand hovered over her communicator, a dozen regulations demanding she report this unprecedented contact. But she hesitated. In the soft glow of the medical equipment, she saw not an alien and a human, but simply a child and its protector. With a soft sigh, she lowered her hand and quietly withdrew, leaving Maya and her unlikely charge to their hard-won moment of peace. As the night wore on, news of the alien child's improvement spread through the station like wildfire. Scientists and doctors who had been ready to give up now worked with renewed vigor, inspired by Maya's relentless determination. But challenges still lay ahead. As the alien child's condition stabilized, questions began to arise. Where had it come from? Why was it alone on that satellite? And perhaps most pressingly, what would happen when its people came looking for it? Maya knew these questions would need answers soon, but for now, she allowed herself a moment of quiet triumph. Against all odds, against the doubts of her superiors and the limits of human knowledge, she had done the impossible. She had saved a life, and in doing so, perhaps changed the course of human history forever. Unraveling mysteries. The days that followed the alien child's stabilization were a whirlwind of activity. Maya found herself at the center of it all, bridging the gap between human science and alien technology. She worked tirelessly, translating her intuitive understanding of the pod's systems into something the station's scientists could comprehend. As the child's condition improved, so did their ability to communicate. It started with simple gestures and expressions, but soon evolved into something more. The xenolinguists were baffled by the speed at which the child seemed to be learning human languages, absorbing words and concepts at an astonishing rate. It was during one of these communication sessions that they made a breakthrough. Maya was sitting with the child, now free from the confines of the pod, but still surrounded by monitoring equipment. She had been showing it pictures of various objects, naming each one. "And this," Maya said, holding up a small model spacecraft, "is a ship, like the one I found you in." The child's large eyes widened, a look of recognition flashing across its delicate features. It reached out, taking the model from Maya's hands with surprising gentleness. Then, to everyone's shock, it spoke. "Not ship," the child said, its voice soft and melodic. "Seed." The room fell silent, all eyes fixed on the alien child. Maya leaned forward, her heart racing. "Seed," she repeated. "What do you mean?" The child's brow furrowed in concentration as it searched for the right words. "Home, sends seeds, to grow, to learn." It gestured to itself. "I am seed." Maya's mind reeled with the implications. The satellite wasn't just a ship or a stasis pod. It was some kind of autonomous exploration vessel, designed to seed alien children across the galaxy. But why? And what had gone wrong with this particular seed? Before she could ask more questions, alarms blared throughout the station. Admiral Zhou's voice came over the intercom, tension evident in her tone. All personnel to battle stations. Unknown vessel approaching at high speed. Maya's blood ran cold. She looked at the child, saw the mix of hope and fear in its eyes, and knew they were here. The child's people had come. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Maya found herself in the command center, watching as a massive alien ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel on the edge of the system. It was beautiful and terrifying, its design similar to the satellite, but on a scale that dwarfed even the largest human vessels. "They're hailing us," a communications officer announced, her voice tight with nervousness. Admiral Zhou straightened her uniform, taking a deep breath. "Put them through." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a being similar to the child, but clearly adult. Its skin was a deeper shade of lavender, its feather-like hair more pronounced. When it spoke, its voice seemed to resonate on multiple frequencies at once. "We come seeking that which was lost," the alien said, its words translated by the station's computers. "Return the seed to us, and we will depart in peace." Maya stepped forward, ignoring the warning look from Admiral Zhou. "The child is safe," she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "We found it abandoned, its systems failing. We saved its life." The alien's expression was unreadable, but something in its posture shifted. "Impossible," it said. "No species but our own possesses the knowledge to maintain a seed's life functions." "Maybe not," Maya replied, a hint of pride creeping into her voice. "But we're pretty good at figuring things out on the fly." There was a long pause, the tension in the room thick enough to cut with a knife. Then, to everyone's surprise, the alien's features softened into something that might have been a smile. "Perhaps," it said, "we have much to learn from each other." What followed was a flurry of diplomatic negotiations, cultural exchanges, and scientific collaboration. The aliens, who called themselves the Nurturers, explained the purpose of their seed program. They were an ancient race, spread thin across the galaxy. Instead of conventional colonization, they sent out child seeds to learn about new worlds and species, growing and adapting to their surroundings. The satellite Maya had found was meant to orbit Earth undetected, allowing the child to observe and learn about humanity from a safe distance. But a micrometeorite strike had damaged its systems, leaving the child in peril until Maya's chance discovery. As the days passed, Maya found herself acting as a bridge between humans and nurturers. Her unorthodox approach and willingness to think outside the box earned her the respect of both species. She worked closely with the alien scientists, comparing notes on the improvised solutions she'd used to save the child's life. "Your methods are unconventional," one of the nurturers told her, a note of admiration in its voice. "But effective. We would never have thought to adapt your primitive technology in such a way." Maya grinned. "Sometimes, you've got to work with what you've got. Humanity's gotten pretty good at that over the years." But even as relations between humans and nurturers improved, Maya couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. The child, whom she'd taken to calling Nova, had formed a strong attachment to her. The thought of it leaving with its people left an ache in her chest she couldn't quite explain. Moreover, there were whispers among the human officials of the military applications of nurturer technology. Maya had overheard enough to know that not everyone saw this first contact as an opportunity for peace and understanding. As she watched Nova play with a group of human children, laughing and communicating in a mix of human language and alien gestures, Maya knew that the real challenges were yet to come. The universe had just gotten a whole lot bigger, and humanity's place in it was far from certain. But looking at Nova, seeing the bridge this one small child had created between two vastly different species, Maya felt a surge of hope. Whatever came next, this moment, this impossible connection, had changed everything. And she was determined to see it through, no matter the cost. Humanity on trial. The excitement of first contact gradually gave way to the complex realities of interspecies relations. As weeks turned into months, the initial wonder faded, replaced by political maneuvering and tense negotiations. Maya found herself caught in the middle, her unique position as Nova's savior, and confident making her an unwilling diplomat. It all came to a head on a day that would go down in human history. Maya stood before a grand council, a mix of human leaders and nurturer elders. The chamber buzzed with tension, the air thick with unspoken accusations and barely concealed fear. Admiral Zhao stepped forward, her face a mask of stern professionalism. "We are gathered here today to address a matter of grave importance," she began. "The unauthorized interference with a nurturer seed by mechanic Maya Patel." Maya's heart raced, but she kept her expression neutral. She'd known this was coming, had prepared for it, but nothing could have fully readied her for the weight of all those eyes upon her, human and alien alike. A nurturer elder, its lavender skin shimmering with age, spoke next. "This act, while born of compassion, has disrupted the natural course of our seeding process. It must be determined whether this interference has irreparably harmed our mission and our relations with humanity." Maya took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about humanity's place in a larger galactic community. She had to make them understand. "Distinguished Council," she began, her voice steady despite her nerves. "I stand before you not to make excuses, but to explain. When I found Nova, the child you call a seed, I didn't see an alien experiment or a diplomatic incident. I saw a child in need, and I acted as any human would, as I hope any sentient being would. I helped." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Maya pressed on, gaining confidence. "Isn't that the very essence of what the nurturers seek to understand? The nature of other species. Well, this is humanity's nature. We see someone in trouble, we help. We face the unknown, we adapt. We encounter the impossible, we find a way." She gestured to Nova, who sat watching the proceedings with wide, intelligent eyes. "Look at what we've achieved together. In saving Nova, we've bridged the gap between our species faster and more effectively than any planned observation could have. We've learned from each other, grown together. Isn't that the true purpose of the seeding program?" The chamber fell silent, the council members exchanging glances. But Maya wasn't finished. She turned to address the nurturers directly. "You call yourselves nurturers, but you sent a child alone into the void. You left it to observe from a distance, never to interact, never to truly understand. Is that really nurturing? Or is it simply watching?" A ripple of discomfort passed through the nurturer elders. One leaned forward, its voice resonating with a mix of curiosity and challenge. "And you believe your way is better, human? To interfere, to impose your will upon the universe?" Maya shook her head. "Not to impose, but to engage. To learn by doing, by helping, by connecting. That's the human way. We're not perfect, far from it. But we're out here, reaching for the stars, not because we want to conquer them, but because we want to understand them, to be part of something greater than ourselves." She took a step forward, her eyes blazing with passion. "You've seen what we can do, how we can adapt, how we can innovate. Imagine what we could achieve together, not as distant observers and subjects, but as true partners." The chamber erupted in discussion, human and nurturer voices mingling in a cacophony of debate. Maya stood firm, her heart pounding, but her resolve unshaken. She caught Nova's eye across the room, saw the trust and hope shining there, and knew that no matter the outcome, she had done the right thing. Hours passed, arguments were made, evidence presented. Maya's improvised solutions were scrutinized, her actions dissected. But through it all, she stood her ground, supported by those humans and nurturers who had seen firsthand the positive impact of her intervention. Finally, as the station's artificial day cycle faded into night, the council reached its decision. The nurturer elder who seemed to be the leader rose, its voice cutting through the tension in the room. "Mechanic Maya Patel," it intoned, "your actions were indeed a violation of our established protocols. You interfered with a process millennia in the making, altering the course of our study of humanity." Maya's heart sank, but she kept her head high. The elder continued, its tone shifting subtly. "However, in doing so, you have demonstrated the very qualities that make humanity a species worthy of study, and perhaps of partnership. Your compassion, your ingenuity, your willingness to reach across the boundaries of species to help another being. These are traits we value highly." A wave of murmurs swept through the chamber. The elder raised a hand for silence before continuing. "We have much to learn from each other. While your methods were unorthodox, the results cannot be denied. The connection forged between Nova and yourself, and by extension between our species, is unprecedented in our long history." Maya hardly dared to breathe, scarcely believing what she was hearing. The elder's next words would change the course of human history forever. "Therefore, it is the decision of this council that not only will Mechanic Patel face no punishment for her actions, but that humanity will be offered a place in the Galactic Nurturers Cooperative. No longer will we observe from afar. Together, we will explore the stars, learning from each other and growing together." The chamber erupted in a mix of cheers, gasps, and excited chatter. Maya felt lightheaded, the magnitude of what had just happened washing over her. She had not only avoided punishment, but had opened the door for humanity's entrance onto the galactic stage. As the formal proceedings concluded, Maya found herself surrounded by well-wishers, both human and nurturer. But her eyes sought out only one figure. Nova pushed through the crowd, practically launching itself into Maya's arms. "We did it," Maya whispered, holding the child close. "We really did it." Nova looked up at her, those iridescent eyes shimmering with joy and something deeper, understanding. Together, it said simply, its small hand clasping Maya's. As Maya stood there, an unlikely hero at the dawn of a new era for humanity, she knew that the real work was just beginning. There would be challenges ahead, misunderstandings to navigate, and new wonders to explore. But in that moment, with Nova by her side and the promise of the stars stretched out before them, Maya Patel, the human mechanic who had changed the course of history, felt ready for anything the universe might throw their way. A new understanding. 5 years had passed since the historic decision to include humanity in the Galactic Nurturers Cooperative, and the universe had never been the same. Maya Patel stood at the viewport of the newly christened exploration vessel, Harmony, a joint human-nurturer creation that represented the pinnacle of both species' technologies. The ship hung in orbit around a distant exoplanet, its sensors probing the alien world below. But Maya's eyes were drawn to her reflection in the transparent aluminum, marveling at how much had changed. Gone was the scrappy freelance mechanic. In her place stood the captain of humanity's first true interstellar vessel. "Captain Patel," a familiar voice called from behind her. Maya turned to see Nova, no longer the small child she had rescued, but a lanky adolescent that straddled the line between human and nurturer in appearance and mannerism. "What is it, Nova?" Maya asked, unable to keep the affection from her voice. Nova's iridescent eyes sparkled with excitement. "The preliminary scans are complete. We've detected signs of primitive life forms in the planet's oceans." Maya felt a thrill run through her. This was why they were out here, to explore, to discover, to understand. "Excellent work. Prepare a report for the science team. We'll need to decide on our approach." As Nova hurried off, Maya couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought them here. The years following humanity's inclusion in the cooperative had been a whirlwind of cultural exchange, technological advancement, and personal growth. The integration hadn't been without its challenges. There were those on both sides who resisted the change, fearing the loss of their own culture or the potential dangers of such a close alliance. But for every voice of dissent, there were dozens more eager to embrace this new future. Maya had found herself at the forefront of these efforts, her unique position as Nova's guardian and the catalyst for human-nurturer relations, making her an ideal bridge between the two species. She had spent years learning from the nurturers, absorbing their knowledge and philosophy, while sharing humanity's passion, creativity, and adaptability. The result was a partnership that pushed the boundaries of what either species could have achieved alone. Human ingenuity combined with nurturer wisdom led to breakthroughs in technology, medicine, and environmental science that benefited not just Earth, but countless worlds across the galaxy. Maya's musings were interrupted by a chime from the ship's communication system. "Captain," her first officer's voice came through. "We're receiving a transmission from Earth." "It's Admiral Zhao." Maya smiled. Even after all these years, the Admiral remained a constant presence in her life, a mentor and friend who had helped guide humanity through its first steps onto the galactic stage. "Put her through to my ready room," Maya replied, making her way to the small office adjacent to the bridge. Admiral Zhao's hologram flickered to life as Maya entered, the older woman's face creased with a mixture of pride and concern. "Captain Patel," she began, "congratulations on your latest discovery. The scientific community back home is buzzing with excitement." "Thank you, Admiral," Maya replied, sensing there was more to this call than simple congratulations. "But I have a feeling that's not the only reason you're contacting us." Zhao's expression turned grave. "You're right. We've received word from the Nurturer homeworld. They've detected an anomaly on the edge of known space, something they've never encountered before. They're requesting that the Harmony investigate." Maya felt a familiar mix of excitement and apprehension. This was what they had trained for, what the Harmony had been built for, to face the unknown and expand the boundaries of knowledge. "We'll set course immediately," she said. "Can you send us the coordinates and any additional information?" As Zhao shared the details, Maya's mind raced with possibilities. What could have the Nurturers, with their millennia of experience, so puzzled? And how would humanity's unique perspective contribute to understanding this new phenomenon? After concluding the call, Maya made her way back to the bridge. The crew, a mix of humans and Nurturers, looked to her expectantly. She felt a surge of pride in this team they had built, in the trust and understanding that had grown between their species. "All right, everyone," she announced, her voice carrying the weight of command and the thrill of adventure. "We've got a new mission. There's something out there that even the Nurturers haven't seen before, and we're going to be the ones to figure it out." A ripple of excitement passed through the bridge. Nova, who had taken his place at the science station, looked up with shining eyes. "What do you think it could be, Captain?" Maya smiled, remembering a similar look of wonder in Nova's eyes when they had first met, so many years ago. "I don't know," she admitted, "but that's why we're out here. To find answers to questions we haven't even thought to ask yet." As the crew prepared for their next great adventure, Maya returned to the viewport. The unknown planet slowly receded as the Harmony changed course, the stars stretching into streaks of light as they engaged the faster-than-light drive. In that moment, Maya felt the full weight of how far they had come. From a chance encounter in the depths of space to the brink of a new discovery that could reshape their understanding of the universe, humanity had taken its place among the stars, not through conquest or domination, but through compassion, curiosity, and the willingness to reach out a helping hand. Whatever they found at the edge of known space, Maya knew that they would face it the same way they had faced every challenge since that fateful day she had found Nova. Together, human and nurturer, not as separate species, but as partners, friends, and family, united in their quest to understand the vast, beautiful, and ever-surprising universe they called home. As the Harmony leaped into the unknown, Maya Patel, once a simple mechanic and now a captain of humanity's future, felt a sense of peace and purpose. They were ready for whatever the universe had in store for them. After all, they had already achieved the impossible once. Who was to say they couldn't do it again? The adventure, it seemed, was only just beginning.